Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from DeltaCX.com. We're a full service CX and UX agency, and I just realized my hair is crazy, my lights aren't on. It's been quite a morning, but we are here for the early version of Office Hours Ask Me Anything. This is 10 a.m. my time, so we are continuing doing the early one to see if there are people out there live in TV land who have some questions they'd like me to answer. You can put those in the LinkedIn or the YouTube chat. I'm monitoring that. And you can also use the anonymous asking if you'd like, deltacx.link/ask. I am still getting all of my windows and chat spaces ready. We do not have any questions that came in ahead of time. So other than looking at my crazy hair and wanting to apologize to you, I don't have anything that is ready to go. So please ask any questions that you have. They're all welcome. All questions welcome and allowed. Let's see. So let's open up more windows. So yeah, usually I'm here about an hour taking your questions, and I'll just stay as long as it makes sense. If we don't have too many people asking questions today, we can, of course, move it right along and wrap up. And let's see, opening more windows. How's everybody doing today? 4310. Sorry, that's my IP number. I've got to match stuff up by IP number here in the home TV studio. Hi, R for everything. How are you doing? Let's grab your question and put it in the list of questions, which will end up in the YouTube description. I'm having crazy hair day. I'm so sorry, everybody. And of course, these are always archived in the Office Hours playlist. I cannot edit out my crazy hair. We're all just going to have to go with it. R for Everything says, and I can put it up on the screen because it's YouTube. How can I do a research plan for the next 3 months to enhance the user experience of a mobile app? Super question. First of all, I think 3 months is a great amount of time to imagine that that's what you're going to need to learn the right things to drive design updates or changes. I'm going to try to glue my crazy hair down, not with real glue. You guys let me know how it's going. Normally where I start, and of course you can check the micro lessons playlist for the research planning we did a few weeks ago for some fake research here, but obviously you're starting with the plan. So how does the research plan look? Typically, my research plan starts with, of course, the goals and the things we're hoping to learn from the research, since that's going to guide a lot of other things we do. It's really our North Star. Then you're going to want to take a look at who do we expect to meet and how many of them and where are we going to find them. Recruiting can take more time than you think. It's not as easy as, I'll just send out a screener survey and then I'll have humans. It can take time to go through the results of that survey and find the people that match this particular study. This is, turn this off. Okay, just checking. Okay, sorry if I was echoing. So think about that. Then also think about how much time you want to spend with each of those people in a session. Very often it's an hour or so. And then you need time before and time after to prepare. So again, start mapping out your time. Your recruiting time is going to be hours of going through your Excel spreadsheet or survey results and pick out the people that you want to meet and start communicating with them. See if you can schedule them, have them sign the consent form. This is days of work. So again, plot out days of work. Then plot out days of work for all of the sessions with these people. So hypothetically, if you're meeting 15 people for an hour each and you need time before and after, maybe you're blocking out 30 hours of time, but can you really do all of that in a week? That's up to you. Can you do 3 sessions a day for 5 days and get this done in a week? For some people, that's great. For some people, that's too exhausting and they need to do fewer. So start mapping your time. Martin, I see your question. You'll be next. Martin, while I answer R for Everything's question, I'm going to need you to explain your question a little bit better. Can you tell me what you mean by mental models by device? And can you tell me what you mean by consistent design thinking? That way I can make sure I answer your question the way you're asking it and I don't read into the wrong thing. So you will be next. So back to R for Everything and the research planning. After you are planning that, then you need to plan dozens of hours to watch through your recordings, do your note taking, maybe get stuff up on your mural or Miro board, not sponsored, and start to organize what you heard. What were some of the good quotes or the good video clips? Where were there themes or patterns or things that you noticed? I think people underestimate time there pretty badly. I would say the number of hours of recordings you'll have times 2, so that people can stop the recording, write down some notes, start the recording up again. For some people, it's times 3 or more. So, there's no right way to do this. It's not like if you told me you need X times 3, I think you're slow and terrible. If you need X times 3, that's great. So hopefully you've done this a few times and you know how to estimate your own time, but don't be afraid to do hours of recordings times 2 or 3 or even more to say that's how long it's going to take me to take my notes and start to do some of my analysis and find patterns. I know we quoted something to a client recently where we put, we were going to have 40 hours of stuff and we put 120 hours of analysis and starting to work on the report kind of together. So yeah, that was an X times 3 for that one. So don't be afraid to use X times 2, X times 3, with X being the number of hours of recordings that you will have from these sessions. That's my rule of thumb, but if you have something better, please use it. Now, again, you're now weeks into this thing. So now you're going to have to do, I'm hoping it will be task analysis, but I love task analysis. But if you're looking at the experience of a mobile app, then hopefully you did have tasks for people to perform, inside the mobile app, and you'll now have videos of them doing this or trying this or failing at this. You'll be able to show some of those videos or video clips, and you'll be able to see what went wrong. So again, back in that research planning, you're not just planning the session or the discussion guide or what will I ask. You're really planning the whole protocol, including what tasks will I have these people do so that I can see what's going right and what's going wrong in certain areas of the mobile app. Usually one round of research like this can't address everything going wrong with the mobile app, but pick some common customer workflows or tasks and focus on those and have them go through those tasks and see if you can find the room for enhancement and improvement. And that's really going to end up coming, I would say, from maybe a task analysis with its optimized task flow. See the micro lessons playlist for more on those. And also your final report, which might have additional insights and opportunities and suggestions. So R for Everything, did that come close? You got quiet, so let me know if I came close to answering that. And let me know if you have a follow-up question since I'm here and happy to take these questions. And Martin says, R for Everything says, what about other techniques, not just usability testing, competitors analysis, expert review? Let me just handle that follow-up question quickly and then we'll get to Martin. If you are talking about research and testing, the competitive analysis would be more of research and not testing. Competitive analysis is probably not going to tell you what's wrong with your app or what could be improved with your app, or where people are having problems with your app, or where there are blockers to getting their tasks done in your app. Usually a competitive analysis says, here's what our competitors have live on the market right now, but you never know what they're working on behind the scenes. Sometimes they're like, wow, our current version stinks, and you're looking at the current version going, wow, maybe we should copy that. And it's like, to them, it's a disaster, and to you, it's like the goal, and that's where there's a breakdown. So I don't usually recommend a lot of competitive analysis because it can make us chase some false gods. So be careful with that. Expert review, again, is fine. That means it's the yous and me's doing our cognitive walkthroughs and walking through these apps and going, I think this is likely to be a problem, or based on our personas, they're probably having some problems here because of, think about our task analysis, because of knowledge, workarounds, heuristics, whatever it might be. Usually we're using the heuristics in the expert review, but I use other things in addition to those. So, but again, that's just one person's opinion, or sometimes two persons' opinion, or three, on what's going wrong here and what should we fix. There's nothing better than hearing it from the actual users and customers. We can expert review it all day long, and we could be right or mostly right. Congratulations to us, but it's still best to hear it from the users and customers because A, they're the best source of information, and B, it's great to show our leadership and our teammates the power of getting this type of information directly from customers and potential customers. If we do everything by expert review, we accidentally teach people that we don't really need to talk to customers. We just need to keep expert reviewing the heck out of everything. And wow, I found this problem. I'm a genius. Let's work on it. So I think it will be important to make sure your world isn't just expert reviews or your ideas about something, but to make sure that there is a lot of direct qualitative data from your users and customers or potential users and customers. That's what I would say there. So usability testing, hypothetically, if you're testing an existing mobile app, that might be part of your plan to have them do some tasks in the current mobile app. It may or may not be usability testing, but I won't go down that rabbit hole. I'm going to move over to Martin's question, but put up some follow-up questions if you have them. And everybody's welcome to ask follow-up questions about anybody's questions. So let's take a look at what Martin says. I can't put it on the screen because it's linked in, but Martin wrote, what's better, mental models by device or consistent design thinking? That question didn't make sense to me, so I asked for more information. Martin wrote, I guess expected behavior in mobile browsers versus apps, iOS versus Android, or a consistent behavior overall. Okay, so that second part sounds nothing like the first part. The mental models by device or consistent design thinking still doesn't make any sense to me, and especially since there's nothing consistent about design thinking, so I'm definitely not sure what you mean by that. So do people have different mental models by device? We only know if you're going to research specifically for that. If you have a mobile app versus tasks people can do in a mobile browser, say from a responsive website, you can always run some research, especially moderated, something where you can watch people and talk to people and not just get a video later of them doing things, and have people do these things on iOS app, iOS mobile web, have other people do them on Android app, Android mobile web, and take a look at how people approach it. Or maybe you have four groups. One group only does iOS app, one group only does iOS mobile web. So it's up to you to design what research is best for what you're trying to learn, because I don't have a great sense of what you're trying to learn other than, do my iOS and Android people think similarly, and do they use the app in a similar way to the mobile web? But we would have to design some research to get to the bottom of that, probably with watching people do things in these four possible places, I'll call them, devices and either the app or the browser. So the expected behavior comes from them, and again, the mental models come from them. But again, I'm not always sold on the idea of mental models, because to me, mental models is very much about perceptions, and I always want to go beyond perceptions, and I really would say look at task analysis. If you haven't looked at task analysis and optimized task flow, we've got multiple videos on it in the micro lessons playlist on the Delta CX YouTube channel. You can find us over there. Putting that up on the screen. You can usability test the subscribe button and join us over on YouTube. So I would say, Martin, I know you're probably 2 minutes lagging behind me because LinkedIn is usually much slower than YouTube with the lag. But I would probably need to know a little bit more to try to make a guess at what type of research design might make the most sense for you, but I'm envisioning real humans, maybe at least 6 of each type, and doing each of the 4 areas. And I would probably want to brainstorm a little bit more or think a little bit more about whether I would want the same person to do iOS app and web, or if I want to see 2 different groups do that. So that I'm not sure about. I would have to think about that a little bit more, and I'm still waking up. But that's some of my thoughts on that. But Martin, what are your thoughts on that? This is still office hours. Ask me anything. I usually stay up to an hour. You can ask questions through deltacx.link/ask. I don't see any questions coming in through there, but I did check. So I will just keep checking the chat room, which right now just has a few people in it. So thanks to the people joining live today. Again, these early office hours are a bit of an experiment. I have promised to do them through April. If we don't really get a huge turnout, I might stop doing them because obviously it's a lot of time out of my day. And if it's not significantly helping people, then I only want to do it if it's significantly helping people, and I'll be doing office hours again in 8 hours. Today we're going to have Darren Hood and Dr. Nick Fine joining for office hours. So obviously a lot of my programming is centered around 6:30 p.m. Italy time, which I know is not great for some countries east of me, but I'm doing these early ones as an experiment, and so far I'm getting like 2 to 5 people coming. So if we can ramp it up a bit, it would seem a little bit more worth the time. No offense to the people coming. It's not that you're not worth my time. It's just the amount of time this takes out of my day when I'm going to do this again in 8 hours is a little bit tough to wrangle. So if you love the office hours at this hour, tell people so that more people show up. And if you don't, then just come to the late one. So again, this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I am here to take your questions, and I'm checking now, and I don't see any other questions. So, I'll hang out a few minutes and let me know if you have more questions. This is still Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I'm just poking around the Slack channel. Stuff happening in the Slack channel. If you're not part of our Slack channel, it's totally free to join. I think we have almost 600 people there now. Not everybody's active. I would say we have maybe 30 to 50 people who are fairly active and some people who lurk. But it's deltacx.link/join Slack. Martin says, sorry for firing really broad questions. Well, Martin, you're welcome to narrow them down if it would help you at all. Broad questions are welcome, but sometimes I get a little bit lost in what you're shooting for and how I can best answer them. So feel free to give me more information or narrow it down if you'd like. Sorry, fun stuff over on the Slack channel. Slack channel is nice people, by the way. You will meet nice people. And it doesn't cost you anything. And it's nicely organized. Anyway, I'm having a crazy hair day. This is Debbie Levitt joining you for Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I don't know what to do with my hair. I think I have to. This is like the day where someone would wear a hat. If I were a guy having a bad hair day, guys just put on hats, right? So I'll just put on the closest hat I have to me. Now you can't tell I'm having a bad hair day, right? No one can tell. I hid it. Did I do a good job hiding it and not bringing attention to my head or my hair at all? Yes. Maybe. There you go. So we'll run with that a little bit. So Let's see if anybody has questions. I'll give it 5 more minutes. If people don't have any other questions by about 10:25 a.m. my time, I'll just wrap it up and call it a session. But if people do have questions, I am happy to take them. This hat does sit on the head a bit oddly, and I don't think I have a big head. Live office hours. This is what happens at your university. Your professor holds office hours, and she just sits there like, does anyone have a question? I'm just sitting here. This is the real life, everybody. I don't see any questions coming in through the Ask system. I just get spam emails. So let's see, what else can I tell you while we wait for questions? I can tell you that my HR training is now live. It is completely free. You're not even put on a mailing list. So please check out the HR training. It's at deltacx.link/HR, lowercase, -training. And whenever you get a batshit crazy job from a recruiter or hiring manager or HR person, please send them the link to the training because we need to train them to make better jobs. Someone who's popping up as LinkedIn user, so I'm sorry I don't see your name in my chat system, says, I'd like to you and everyone watching, what are some recommendations for online conferences in 2021? Okay, let's put that on the list of questions. I don't go to that many conferences, so I have to admit I don't know of too many that I'm in love with. Sometimes the IA conference has a good program. Sometimes they have speakers there who I freaking hate. I've heard good things about a conference called the BAD Conference, which is not bad. It's Behavior and Design. That one is going on later this month. Tickets are still available. And my dog is here. Hello, Olivia. What is on your face? I've heard good things about Behavior and Design Conference. Dr. Nick speaks there. I've never attended one myself, but I hear good things about that one. I am holding a conference in May. I haven't made this public yet, but please block off on your calendars May 25, 26, and 27. Roughly, oh gosh, time zones, help me. I know it's like 11 in the morning East Coast, so that would be 5 p.m. Italy. The main content will be 5 p.m. Italy to 9 p.m. Italy, and then we'll have some networking and mentoring before and after that. I'm hoping to start promoting that next week, but it will be 3 days in May. I've had multiple people creating conference tracks, so they're all curated by people we like or should grow to like. So that one's called Concentric. We did Concentric last year in January. You can find it in the YouTube playlist under Concentric. And so I'm doing it again in May, but I'll be promoting it next week. But for now, you can block off your calendars. I have a registration page, but it's not totally done yet. So I can show it to you, but it won't even tell you what the agenda is. So you would just have to like blindly trust me on the agenda. I think I made a little graphic for it. Yeah. See if that works. But again, registration is technically open, I think, you tell me, but the agenda isn't up. So again, you just have to trust that we're putting together a great show and it's going to be completely free. So the main thing is to block out your calendar for the time. Online conferences. I think I'm really, I'm not a big fan of conferences because I feel like every time I look at the talks, they're either talks we've all heard before a million times, or they're talks that I'm against, like using design thinking for toenails in the winter or whatever now. So I think it's like, what's left to be said? I'm not even sure. So if you have a particular conference, I would happily look at the agenda and tell you what I think of it. But, that's just my opinion. Oh, elastic. But I have to admit, I don't attend too many conferences because I feel like, what am I going to learn from this? And am I going to hear some BS that's going to make me mad and write books and feel grumpy about things? Hey, any other questions? Let's see. Nothing come in through email. Oh my God. This job is just everywhere. There's a crazy job that I've just added to my, oh no, this one's even worse. Ooh, this one's really bad. I'll have to add it to my HR training. Okay, put that on the to-do list. This is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I'm here having a bad hair day, taking your questions about whatever. I doubt my hair will be better by our later broadcast, which don't forget, I'll be back here in about 8 hours doing Office Hours Ask Me Anything with Darren Hood and Dr. Nick Fine. This is our early one to experiment in the time zone universe. Let's see what we've got cooking. So please do ask questions. I'm watching the chat room. And also the deltacx.link/ask, which you can use 24 hours a day. And I will keep those questions until Tuesday. Let's see what YouTube says. YouTube says 2 people are watching. Thank you. Abby, you just put up a question. Aha. Okay, let's put up Abby's question. And can I call you Abby? So it says, speaking of jobs, are you in need of a remote UX intern by any chance with this face? That's always a good face. One of my favorites. I use it a lot. So am I in need of an intern right now? I'm not. I am not too sure what to ask an intern to do over at my company. Because we are an agency and we tend to work on very deep projects for big customers, I don't usually put an intern on it. I am trying to put some apprentices on things where someone has already some pretty good UX knowledge and a little bit of practice, but is having trouble building the bridge between that and their first real job. So sometimes I'm trying to connect with apprentices on things, but that I've only put 3 apprentices on things so far, and maybe a 4th coming up soon. So this is not like I don't have an application form. This isn't like a steady stream of people. It's been really kind of quite random. So I would have to say no right now. But if I ever do, of course, I will let you know. But right now, I don't really have that available. And Janani is here, so I will answer this question. I can't put it up on the screen because it's LinkedIn. And it says, hey, Debbie, I wanted to get your feedback on the role of heuristic evaluation. When should it ideally be done? So very often when we're doing heuristic evaluations in the Delta CX agency universe, we're usually doing it as one of the first steps of the project. That way, it gives us the opportunity to move through the existing product, whether that's a site or an app or a system or something else. We can move through it, do some cognitive walkthroughs, take a look at where we think there are CX and UX disasters or triumphs, put together a mini report on that, and typically we'll include heuristics in that. And that way we can say to people, look, it's not just my opinion that this is kind of crappy. Here is the heuristic that it's kind of breaking or offending or whatever. So typically we do that first because it also gives us the opportunity to get to know whatever this system or thing is. Because that's usually a step for our process as well because we're an agency and so we're coming into something new every time and we need hours to move through it and try to figure out what is going on here. Does anyone know? So I would say heuristic evaluations, there's never really a bad time for one. You can always say, whoa, someone thinks they want to, I worked somewhere and I can't remember where right now, but I worked somewhere where when designers and architects were moving forward with some of their concepts, someone would come in and do a heuristic evaluation of them just to be an extra set of eyes and say, hey, your concept's going in the right direction, or hey, I noticed a couple of things that are killing heuristics. Hey, designers and architects, don't forget to fix this up. So it can sometimes be an internal team exercise where you're getting another set of eyes on a concept that is in progress. So I would say those are two main ways that I might use heuristic evaluations. The last one we did, my wonderful genius partner brought in something I hadn't seen before. I'm going to open up my PowerPoint, but I'm not going to show it. I'm not going to show you my PowerPoint. But she brought in something that I think is worth everybody digging up. And I will copy paste this and put this on the screen. And I'm not even sure how to pronounce this. So this is always the benefit of getting the partner that is smarter than you. Let me put this up on the screen. Press number 4. Here we go. That's a little small, isn't it? Hold on. Let me beef up the font size. Boom, boom, boop, 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 boop. Okay, that looks better. Hopefully everybody can see that well. This appears to be Gerhardt Powell's cognitive processing principles. Some of it seems a little bit heuristic-y, but it is more specifically about cognitive processing, about workload, uncertainty, grouping of data, and so things like that. So I think that could be an interesting thing to add to some of your heuristic adventures. And should there be more than one evaluator? You can certainly do that. I've done projects where it was just my review, and I've done projects where 2 or 3 people do it. I've also seen some people have 2 or 3 people do it, and then they have like an Excel spreadsheet with scores. And then you end up with some sort of mean or median score based on what each expert felt about different things. But that's not usually how I do it, not because I think there's something wrong with that, because that could be okay, but because what we typically do is we're looking at so many different screens and workflows that it's hard to just give things a score. So typically what we do is we create a PowerPoint where we do a screenshot of some aspect of the site or experience that we want to say something about, and then we have a little column on the side of the PowerPoint slide where we explain what we see going right or wrong here, and which of the heuristics or the Gerhardt Powell's principles we think is in trouble here. So I like kind of the PowerPoint version. It's very visual. It's great for people who don't totally understand heuristics or don't want to feel like they have to become a CX expert. And we could just say, here's an error message that is meaningless to people and therefore is difficult for them to get out of their error state, help themselves and move on. They're probably going to either abandon or tax your customer support. Here's the heuristics that this violates. Here's the processing principles that this breaks, violates, whatever. So I find that that is a pretty good way to communicate it in mostly layman's terms to people who won't necessarily have UX knowledge. And, while I'm not against teaching people about heuristics, not everybody wants to get that in the weeds into some of our terminology or tasks. So I think if you can give people problems in layman's terms and reference maybe the heuristic that you're thinking of, if they're curious about heuristics, they can look them up. If not, you can say, people, this workflow is unclear of what to do next, breaks these rules, but hey, whether or not you understood those rules, people can't figure out what to do next. So I hope that helps. It was a nice question. Let's see, am I missing any email questions? No. So this is still office hours. Ask me anything. I'll stick around a few more minutes if anybody has questions. Am I centered on the screen? I think this is a little more centered. I know I moved my microphone over, so it looks like who's centered? No, it's me. The microphone is not centered. That's another story. So while we wait for more questions, I'm wearing my hat because I'm having a bad hair day, and you can too. And what else? Jason says, I have a question about task analysis, but more likely for Larry Marine. When Larry mentions words like some cognitive knowledge is required to perform a task, is he performing to Dan Diaper? Task analysis for knowledge descriptions. Okay, so let's write this down. And Jason, I will do my best to try to answer that since Larry is probably sleeping. Let me just quickly add it to my list of questions, and we'll see how I do with this one. So I think that when Larry talks about knowledge, and tell me if I'm going in the right direction with what your question is, Larry talks about the user's requirement in some cases for them to have certain knowledge or pieces of information in order to complete their task or move forward with their task. An easy example would be you go to a website to pay your bill, and the site asks you for your account number. Do you have your account number handy? That is a piece of knowledge that the system expects you to have in that moment. If you do not have that knowledge, does the system have another way for you to get in and pay your bill? Or is this highly knowledge dependent and you've given people no other choice and now they have to go dig up a bill or call customer support or something like that? So from my interactions with Larry on this and the discussions I've had with him, my impression is that the knowledge has to do with the things that our system expects people to know or understand in each moment. Another example that Larry will often use is people buying flowers. He will say, people don't know what flowers go with what occasions. We know roses are supposed to be romantic, but other than that, we don't necessarily know what lilies, daffodils, tulips, we don't know which ones are right for weddings or funerals or secretaries or romance. We don't know. And originally in the 90s, when flower websites started popping up, they would ask you, pick out a bouquet. Do you want roses, lilies, daffodils, lilacs? And most people were like, I don't know what's right for the occasion. I don't know. That was knowledge the system expected you to have. So that's why Larry uses that as an example of knowledge design, where the system just says, shop by occasion. Who are you buying for? What's the occasion? Oh, it's mom's birthday. Oh, it's secretary. Oh, it's nurse. Oh, it's whatever it is. Now you don't have to have the knowledge of which flowers are appropriate for which occasion. You just have to know your occasion. And that way we've removed the knowledge we expect the user or customer or visitor to have, and we've built it into the system so that you don't have to have that knowledge. So I can't tell you if Larry doesn't mean what you're writing here in your question, but my impression from Larry is that the knowledge has to do with the actual knowledge that people have. You know, when we did the micro lessons, observational research stuff in the last few weeks, we found that a couple of people, and we had them cooking food, a couple of people said, oh, I know not to put this in the microwave. It doesn't heat up really well in the microwave. I know to put this in the toaster oven. Well, where did they get that knowledge? Nobody's written an ebook on things to put in the microwave versus things to put in the toaster oven. That was probably knowledge that somewhere along the line they gathered. But even the things that heat up terribly in microwaves and turn into sedimentary rocks will still have microwave heat up instructions on them. So that means you would have to have the knowledge to know this is going to be a disaster. Don't follow those instructions. What if the box said, we do not recommend a microwave for heating up this particular item. We recommend ovens, toaster oven, stovetop, whatever it might be. Now you're not leaving people to have the knowledge or guess, and you're not treating like all outcomes would be equally fantastic. Jason, tell me if I'm going in the right direction with that. That is things I've heard. These are the types of things I've heard Larry say, and so these are the types of things I think are correct, but I don't know if I'm directly nailing your question, so please let me know. Let's see. Abby's got another question. Let's put it in while we wait to see if Jason has a follow-up question. And by the way, Jason, Larry will be our guest, I think a week from today. He's going to be our office hours guest on The Late Show, 6:30 p.m. Italy time. Let me just check. Tuesday the 20th, yes. Larry, Tuesday the 20th, 6:30 p.m. He will be taking questions live. Abby says, what is the best format or example you have come across for a heuristic analysis? I compiled a research report recently, and presenting it, people said it was really text heavy. Yeah, I think that can happen. And again, I think one of the things we can do in CX and UX that can really improve our collaboration and some of our relationships with our other teammates or outside of CX teammates is to learn in what format they want some of these reports and information. Some people like reports, some people like PowerPoints, some people like the 2-page short version. We should learn what they want. When it comes to these heuristic analyses or audits or cognitive walkthroughs or whatever, again, I like to do PowerPoints. And again, I do them as a screenshot of whatever I'm about to tell you about. And then next to that, I have a column with some of the points that I want to make here, good or bad points, as well as which heuristic is in play here, either because it was done well or because we have broken it or violated it. So I think screenshots, sometimes you need an arrow pointing at something and then some bullet points about that particular screen. Then next PowerPoint slide can be a different screen. And I think things like that would be really helpful to people, especially because we know many people just don't want long reports and wordy reports. They just don't want it. I don't think it's the hat. I think I'm overheating from the heat in the room. I'm going to try to remote turn it off. We've got the smart home happening here, everybody. Yes, it's off. I'll just put my hair up and give up on my bad hair day. This is still office hours, Ask Me Anything on a bad hair day. But we've got some good questions, bad hair day. I think I'm just going to tie it all up and give up. Jason says, my question was more about if he's citing academic literature, but thanks for the explanation. Okay, so I think that Larry learned some or all of his task analysis stuff from Don Norman because Larry was Don Norman's student in the early 90s in college or university. I think Larry learned it from him. So is it academic? Yes. Is he citing academic literature? I don't know. Best question for him. But I can certainly tell you what he means by knowledge and cognitive stuff, but I couldn't tell you what he's citing other than his personal experience with learning from Don Norman. Don Norman was his professor in the early 90s at, I think it was UC San Diego. So not bad, right? Not bad for that to be your professor. I had a wonderful professor, but not Don Norman. My wonderful professor was Mark Devoto. I hope he's still alive. He was great. He was my music professor, one of them, when I went to university for music. So sorry I didn't hit that question as well as I could have. I do my best to channel Larry, but it doesn't always work out. Larry, come to us. It's what, 2 a.m. where Larry is, so I don't expect him to show up here. He'll wake up in a few hours. So this is still office hours, Ask Me Anything. I stay no more than an hour usually, but tonight we're going to do the extended dance remix. We're going to be doing the 2-hour version so that everybody can get their questions answered by me, Darren Hood, and Dr. Nick Fine, or a combination of us, so drop by later. You can start asking questions now if you'd like, and I'll save them. We have one so far. deltacx.link/ask. Just mark it for the 6:30 show, and your question will be on the list. Any other questions? I'm just going to go with the hair up today. I give up. What's for lunch? That's really the next question. What's on my calendar? What am I doing? Can I go back to sleep, please? Yes. Can't go back to sleep. So sad. So hopefully this is helpful to people. Remember, office hours is 6:30 p.m. Italy every day. Right now it is 10:46 in the morning Italy time. I don't know what time it is where all of you are. Jason, where are you? We know Janani's in Australia. And yeah. So how's everybody? We'll wait for some questions, or follow-up questions are welcome. I will do my best to channel other people upon request, but I am not a medium. I also think the morning light on my face is a little harsh, but you know, now I'm just being judgmental. Good morning. This would be office hours. Ask me anything, but there's no questions. So don't forget to subscribe and join. And let's check the Slack channel for a moment. The Slack channel has 591 members. And again, I know many people are not active, or they come back when they are in a panic. I would say we have maybe 30 to 50 quite active people who are posting multiple times a day. So there is human life there, and we do support each other, and it costs nothing. So it is not the walled garden where you have to get the membership. It is totally free. And if you don't like it, you can leave, but you can stay. It's totally up to you. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Oh yeah, don't forget, Fridays I'm doing React videos. If you have something you want me to react to, in short, send it over. Let's put up the reaction links. I think I have them on this button. Yes. This is my URL shortener, and there are many things you can slap on the end of the URL shortener and end up with something good. Like asking a question here, adding something for the Friday reaction videos, which are just 15 or so minutes long. They're shorties. And of course, the monthly giveaway, deltacx.link/giveaway. Enter your email address. This month, I'm giving away a free hour of my coaching time. Never expires. Use for whatever reason you want when you would normally have paid time with me. So enter to win. One winner will be picked after April is over. And each month, I'll try to give away something hopefully valuable and hopefully different. Last month, we gave away a ticket to the BAD conference, courtesy of the BAD conference. They were going to give me the free ticket, and I said, no, let's give it to someone else. And in February, I gave away 2 signed books. Man, those are expensive to ship. I shipped a signed book yesterday to Greece, which you would think is like just over there. I mean, because I'm in Italy. Greece is like just over there. And it was like $50 American just for the shipping. So if any of you are like, gee, Deb really charges a lot for those hardcover, color printed signed books, I'm like not making any money on them, because between what they cost me to print and the crazy shipping prices right now, I am just breaking even. I think I make $2, $3. So I apologize for what I have to charge you, but it's mostly the shipping and the printing of the book. So there you go. Otherwise, you can get the books on Amazon. My book is $23, give or take, on Amazon. If it's more than that, don't buy it. It's someone else relisting it. And the Kindle is not on sale anymore, but it's $12 American. So change that for your Kindle universe. If we don't have any other questions, I was going to wind down, but here's Abby. Hey, Debbie, what are your thoughts on the Springboard Bootcamp? Yeah, I've been doing some bootcamp reactions on the Friday show, but in general, I do not have a positive word about so far any bootcamp. Now, the last time someone asked me about the Springboard Bootcamp, a Springboard mentor was in the audience, and they started acting like, hey, it's not that bad. And I said, no, you as a mentor are good. I cannot speak to the rest of the Springboard program. So obviously having a good mentor would be good, but I bet not everybody gets that guy, and he's good. So right now, I haven't found a boot camp that I like. I haven't found online courses that I love other than Michelle Ronson's Curiosity Tank, not sponsored. So I am not comfortable suggesting that anybody take any of these boot camps or online courses, and I suggest 100%, if you do, please get an outside mentor or coach to review your work, cycle, review your work every time you do something, because I find that people who take a lot of these courses end up guessing. They don't have mentoring at all. They don't have consistent mentoring. Sometimes they don't get feedback until the project is over and they didn't have a chance to make it better as it was going. So no matter how you try to learn UX, try to get that mentor or coach involved in what you're doing so you can make sure that you are really learning the right things the right ways and not guessing. Janani's flipped over to YouTube. Hi. Hey, Debbie, can you add the recent NNG article on UX role crossover with other roles in an organization to reaction videos? I can. I think I'm only doing them on Fridays, and I think I'll put it on the list, though. I think this Friday people asked me to do a few more boot camps, and because it's only a 15-minute video, I only have time to cover a few things. Yeah, it looks like I got sent two boot camps and a master's degree. So I will put your thing on there, but it might have to be Friday week. So let me see. NNG article on UX role crossover. And I glanced at that. And I then ignored it because I was like, well, what do you want me to do about that? But yeah, I'll put that on the list, though I probably won't get to it this Friday because I've been asked to react to a bunch of boot camp and master's degree curricula. Martin says, at which stages should work be approved and signed off, low, medium, or high fidelity? Let's put that on the question list. Okay, so it really depends on what's happening at your company and who you are. If you were an apprentice or a newbie, I would want to see your work at every stage. That doesn't mean you need a formal approval from me. I'm not a big formal approval person, but I would definitely want to review your work at each stage just to make sure you're going in the right directions, maybe challenge you a little bit to level up and do even better. So I am definitely a frequent work review person, not to micromanage people. It really depends on their level of experience and expertise. So if someone's newbie, I like to see work quite frequently. The more experienced you are, the less I need to see your work. As for final approval, my thought is that I would probably, if I were in a more corporate environment and I were a manager, I would probably want to more formally review somebody's work towards the end of their medium fidelity stage, because ultimately, I mean, the difference between medium fidelity and high fidelity is we put the graphic design on it, or we put the brand on it, or we applied the design system, or we applied the component library, UI kit, whatever it is. In many ways, that medium fidelity is exactly how this is going to lay out and function, even if it doesn't have final colors or typography or some of these other things. So I would definitely think that there is a level of formal approval that could come at the medium fidelity stage, because that might be us locking in how this lays out and works before the high fidelity stage, where it's really just getting its final visual appearance or aesthetics or branding. So that would be my style if I got to pick, but I'm sure different managers do different things. And again, I also don't want to micromanage or helicopter over people unless they are newer, unless they are intern, apprentice, junior. Once they're mid-level, I tend to oversee them a lot less, but I would say intern, apprentice, junior, I would want to review rounds of low fidelity work, rounds of medium fidelity work, and all of that, just to make sure that they're doing the right things in the right ways and doing the best work they can. So that would be my suggestion. But again, that's just a style, and other people might have different styles for other or better or worse reasons. I hope that helps. So we can probably start wrapping up here. I don't see any questions coming through the email system, but please do remember that you can use 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, deltacx.link/ask, and you can mark it for the early show or the late show, which for some of you is the late show and the non-existent show, but the 10 a.m. Italy time show, which is this one, or the 6:30 p.m. Italy time one, which is coming in 7.5 hours. And you can ask your question any time of the week. As they come in, I collect them and put them on the list, and then you will be among the first to have your question answered because I got it ahead of time. So first come, first served. That's the way it works. So if you'd like to have your questions answered by me and Darren Hood and Dr. Nick, we will be live later today in about 7.5 hours. Please come back and join us, especially on YouTube where the lag is usually low. I'm on my backup internet today, but man, it looks really fast compared to my regular internet, which this week has been a little slow, and last night it was bad. Y'all were complaining. So hopefully fast internet means something in the tip jar. Tip jar? Okay, hard to point at things superimposed in front of me in a virtual space. I hope this was helpful to everybody. I'll wrap it up for now, but I'll see everybody later today. Get your questions ready for the Three Musketeers. And we don't have a show tomorrow. It's going to be live Slack channel video networking. So if you'd like to meet other people from the Slack channel and just chat about CX, UX, and not CX, UX, because we can't talk about this all the time. We'll go crazy. I'll see everybody there. So I'm going to play us out of here, but everybody be safe, be well, and see you in 7.5 hours. Delta CX, available for CX and UX consulting, projects, and training. Contact us for a free consultation.